Dr. David Kimbro and Dr. Randall Hughes work to unlock the secrets of the intertidal zone, where the land meets the sea.
I often wonder if Randall and David knew what they were getting into when they approached WFSU about a collaboration. 2.5 years they've worked under the scrutiny of a camera, and then had to talk about their work on camera.
It's probably just like the fear of ecology. I bet a mud crab gets desensitized to a predator burrow after a while. After a couple of times, bring it on.
Did he just compare himself to prey hiding from a predator? I guess the camera can be scary when you're on that side of it, especially when you're discussing your life's work. That's part of why this man is here.
And they're going to know it's coming, and then you're going to pass it to them, and they're going to catch it.
Dr. Randy Olson is a PhD who at 38 enrolled at USC Film School. He conducted a 2-day workshop with FSU researchers and students with the goal of helping them tell their stories.
I've had two careers. One is a scientist, the other is a filmmaker. But really, when I look at the two of them, it comes down to there's a unifying factor, which is storytelling. As a scientist, I was drawn in by a number of scientists who were tremendous storytellers in the very beginning. They kind of mesmerized me into getting interested in this field. And what most interested me, and I think what I enjoyed the most in doing science, was telling stories about what I discovered in my experiences. And the more I did that, the more I got interested in other ways to tell the stories. Eventually led me into the idea of making films.
I mean, I got to be real about it, right? I think global warming may affect us 150 years from now.
I actually showed up at film school in 1994. I went through the 3-year graduate film production program at USC. And I showed up there, I think, with kind of a bad attitude because I really didn't think that story was all that important. I thought that if you got amazing actors and a great director and you could make anything work, 15 to 20 years later, everything has converged for me down to a single word, which is story and storytelling.
He has them improvise stories.
So I want each of you, just off the top of your head, to make up a story, or you can tell me a real story. Last week, I went to a movie, bought some popcorn, and the guy slapped me in the face.
So I went home yesterday to this condo that we're staying in on the coast, and I was chatting on the phone, and I looked out the window and saw an alligator swimming across the irrigation pond. And while I watched, as I ran to get the kids and alert them, the alligator ate our neighbor's dog.
It's as if when you look at this vertical axis that I talk about in my book, scientists are kind of up here and artists are kind of down here in the lower organs. They live their lives much less informational, much more about emotions and feeling and things of that sort.
Other improv activities help to get the researchers out of their heads and into the moment.
Oh.
P.
Q.
And he had them write stories ahead of time based on their field of research.
Apalachicola Bay, not too far from here, there's an ordinary oyster that is sucking in water and filtering out plant-like material from the bay for food. It's growing continuously, cleaning the water, and ultimately provides, catch for a fisherman and a meal in a local restaurant. And but now, over we're finding that the oyster reef really, they aren't providing these services anymore.
When the students start off with the first draft, it's all over the place, as is to be expected. And a lot of them, their first version was 4 or 5 minutes in length. And then we worked with them over the last 2 days to kind of edit them down into their bare bone structure, the most essential elements to tell the story in the bare minimum amount of time, and then add into it a few elements of character to kind of give it a bit more power and strength. And yeah, very impressed with the results. I think pretty much all the students rose to the challenge.
Because my dad got sick and lost his job and house, and family sort of fell apart, I've kind of gotten myself in a secure profession, academia, where played the game of grant submission, publication, very basic science. Even got myself a more secure job up north that's, again, going along that basic game of securing a stable future for my family. But as I'm leaving this place, northern Florida, that's really provided so many natural resource systems for me to succeed as an academic, I see in Apalachicola lots of other little boys with dads who are oystermen or restaurant owners who are losing their jobs and their health and their families. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm a believer now. I drank the Randy Olson punch. It was really powerful, the message that he was trying to send us, and I think he did send it to most of us. And again, it's another way for me to help figure out, okay, what of my stuff is just good for the journals, for other people like myself to read, versus what's really important. What are these people going to care about?
And you can keep catching those stories on In the Grass on the Reef. I'm Rob Diaz de Villegas.
In the Grass on the Reef is funded by the National Science Foundation.